Here are the 5 steps to craft the perfect case for support for your nonprofit. So say you're in a position where A, you want to build a written case for support to send to grant organizations, to put on your website, to send an appeal, or you want to have a kind of an elevator pitch as to why you need money as you're talking to donors. Either way, you're trying to convince people to give to your organization instead of other organizations, or just give to your organization outright. There's a simple 5-step process of these are the pieces of information you should include in your case for support to make sure that it's dialed in, very compelling, and effective in convincing people to part with their hard-earned money. Step number 1, tell me why your organization exists. Now, if you don't have a 1-sentence elevator pitch for this, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you, but you should probably create a 1-sentence elevator pitch as to why your organization exists. We've worked with some organizations that are very, very focused. They've got one thing that they do. Like, we are a school for the deaf. Like, great, that's a pretty easy lane. We've worked with other organizations who have 8, 9, 10, 11 different missions that they have, like, oh, we serve this population, and we also serve the elderly, and we also have a foster home, and we serve people struggling with addiction, and we have and they go through all these different lanes, and like, that is way harder to package and zoom out. Fine either way. We can make both work, but you do need to talk about why your organization exists. Here is why the world needs us. Here's why our community needs us. Let's take an autism center, for example. Their why might be, we want to provide a safe and healthy learning environment for kids on the spectrum between ages 3 and 18. Like, pretty easy to define, clear as to why that needs to exist. Maybe there's not a government program that supports it, maybe there's not a public program that supports it, so we as a nonprofit have to exist to support this population who needs our help. Why does your organization exist? So maybe start with that. That's how you open. You know, the such and such autism center, and then 1 or 2 sentences as to why your organization exists. Step number 2, what's the need? We want to articulate the need. So this is the framing of the problem. We'll use the Autism Center again as an example. 1 in 36 kids these days are diagnosed with some form of autism, and there are, we'll say, 2,000 of those who live in our community, and none of them have the resources they need to be successful and grow into healthy, productive, happy adults. It's like, okay, that's a pretty good need. So this is, again, this is the before, this is the problem, this is where you kind of paint the dark picture of there's a population or a set of people or a person who needs our help and they don't have any other resources or access to things that can help them. What is that need? So after talking about why you exist, you kind of then frame the problem, saying we've identified the problem here, here's exactly how it was set up, here's the need and how we can address that need, basically. Number 3, we want to talk about the future. Draw a little spaceship here, zoom into the air. This is the future. We want to talk about after we've received the donations to do X project or to expand or to support this population, we will then have this. So again, let's go back to the Autism Center for the example. We need to build a 10,000 square foot facility and hire 50 staff. If we're able to do that, we'll be able to support all of the kids who need services in our community for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years or however it might be. But we want to talk about, okay, we've identified the problem, but we have this future, this new future that we imagine that we're really excited about, but we just need to purchase or fund or grow or program this. And that's how you can help. Your donation can do X, Y, and Z so we can go from problem to new imagined exciting future where that problem no longer exists. Hey, thanks for checking out our video. If you're getting value out of this but would like something more personalized, you can book 30 minutes with one of our experts to see if you qualify for our support services. Link below in the description. All right, number 4. Now you might think that feels like we're done. Like that was all the things that I put in my case for support. I had, why we exist. I stated the problem, and then I talked about the solution or the nice future that we created by getting the funding and fixing the thing. You can, and you should. That is where most people, when they're starting out with their nonprofit, with their mission, that is where they go. At that point, you want to then continue to iterate on your case for support. So not only do you want to get that first version, but you want to get feedback. Go forth and start raising money with that first version, but it should evolve, especially if you have a multi-year project or a multi-year campaign. We kind of view our case for support as like a living, breathing document that gets updated all the time. So we want to gather feedback. Number 4, gather continuous feedback. So we're always looking for feedback on refining the message. Pretty easy to do that. A couple of actionable steps, first thing is, if you get a donation, is to sit down with that donor and ask why, or even send a survey if they're a larger group of them. But you want to ask, hey, we're really, really grateful for the support that you gave us. What compelled you to give? What impact are you hoping to see? And they say something that is in line with what you're already doing. It's like, great, that was good feedback. Keep going with the same case for support. Or they might mention something that you didn't even think of. Like, oh, we want to make sure that the public school system doesn't have to absorb the additional resources that are needed to support kids with autism through their education. Saying not only is it helpful to have for the kids, but for everybody else, it costs less for the public school system to absorb that burden as well. It's like, oh, I didn't even think about that as being a factor, but the donor made that connection on their own, and that's what compelled them to give, and now we can add that as a piece to our case for support. Not a perfect example, but you can use things like that where they're going to point things out. You also might have something on there that people are not as excited about. A great example that we give in healthcare is some organizations lean really heavily into the, we provide free healthcare to anybody whether they can afford it or not. That resonates really well with a lot of people. There are some people who are not as excited about that. And they're like, well, I don't really want to pay for other people's healthcare. I want to support my family and my kids. So not making any statements one way or the other, which one is wrong or right, but you will get feedback from donors as to which parts of your case for support are compelling based on how they give and asking them why they give, so that you can then continue to refine and craft through feedback. And finally, the last step to craft your phenomenal case for support is to add stories. Facts tell, stories sell. You probably have heard that phrase a time or two, especially if you've been in the fundraising industry. But again, so much more powerful to talk about one singular person that you've helped as opposed to listing all the thousands of people that you've been able to help. Way, way better to humanize and say, here is John who blah, 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 and he had trouble with blank, and then he got access to these services, and now he's able to blank, thanks to these things that we were able to do based on your funding. Because you were able to fund this thing, John now has this wonderful future ahead. So that story about John, way, way more compelling than talking about, oh, we serve 3,000 kids, or we have all of these resources to do all these things. So if you're starting the thing, and you're just getting funding to get up and running, you may not have stories right away, which is why you don't have to launch with this. If you have stories you can put in your case for support, highly recommend that you lead with that. But if you're like, don't have any of those yet, or I don't have anything compelling yet, or maybe you do have the story, you just haven't collected it yet, totally fine to go ahead and build that case for support, start using it, start raising money. But then as the stories start to happen and the things start to work, retroactively take those and plug them back in. Expand your case for support, make it more of a packet, have some add-ons, just a little paragraph with maybe a photo. Highly, highly compelling and a lot easier to do once you get some momentum. So plug that storytelling in, and then you'll be off to the races with your case for support. Hey, thanks for checking out our video. If you're ready to level up your fundraising program, Pride Philanthropy might be able to help. Our team helps raise over $100 million per year for dozens of clients all over the country. We train staff and volunteers, conduct feasibility studies, and manage multi-year campaigns. If you're looking for outside help to kickstart your program or rejuvenate your efforts, you can book a free 30-minute call with one of our experts to see if you qualify as a client of Pride. Visit pridephilanthropy.com or click the link below, and we'll see you over there.